Hey, this is Bruce B. There's some serious stuff going on. My wife, about a month ago, she was released from the hospital. She was in the hospital for 5 months because she had lost her leg due to um, heart complications and not being able to flush the water through her system. So it was she got infection and couldn't fight the infection because her kidneys was messed up and she had diabetes. And there was a lot of stuff going on with her that neither one of us knew. Just before all this, when she went down, um, she was walking around like a normal person. She didn't know that she was sick. It just came on suddenly, right? These symptoms just kept piling on and piling on and piling. So she had to go to the hospital. And by that time, it was too late to save her leg. The hospital said they couldn't do anything because it was infected and it's not going to heal because there's no circulation going down to her bottom leg. So they had to amputate. Took her a long time to recover just from that. And then she had other things. While she was in the hospital, it took 5 months for her to get out. And I believe it was still too early. It's Grady Hospital in Atlanta. I think they just got tired of her being there. They just threw her out. Really, I mean, literally, threw her out. They pretended she was competent. They had her drugged up on Vicodin. And she even told me afterward, after they called me because I was her advocate the whole time. They called, all of a sudden, I'm not her advocate, right? Because she was competent, according to a general practitioner, not a psychiatrist, who just decided on the spot, oh, your wife is competent, and her sister's on the phone with her. So her sister said she can come to her place in California. Okay, so they called me up and they just told me in no uncertain terms that they're going to ship her to California. And I'm like, I couldn't promise them I could be there 24/7, right? So they decided to do that. And we were working on financing, me and people at the hospital, but at that point they just didn't care about that. They did not want to wait not another day because like the Medicaid and all that, it takes a minute for them to finish deciding, the whole process and everything. Hospital didn't want to wait. They just threw her out, and then they lied and said that they were going to help us because she needs outpatient care. She's a heart patient. She needs somebody to come in and check on her, check her heart, check her sugar, check her sodium level, her potassium, all that. And also her wound from her surgery. It's not 100% healed yet. So we need professional care, which, because they threw her out like that, I'm right now, I'm scrambling because all I was doing, because I had some bad experiences with some employers, was I was like, what you call between jobs. So I'm driving Uber Eats, DoorDash, um, and not even because I was doing that. Well, I had to stop doing that. I just remembered that, and I was working a night job at Walmart because I wanted to be available for my wife. So it's not like I had a lot of money. And then even if I started driving again, I had to transition to that. You know, because I couldn't save money while I was working at Walmart at night. You know. So, but the hospital, they didn't care about none of that. And they basically they took and they threw her into threw her took and threw her in my sister-in-law's bedroom in her apartment, a little cramped up little bedroom, put a hospital bed in there, and just threw her in the bed after telling us they was going to help us. That they told us they was going to help us to get her care, or after patient, after hospital, whatever you want to call it, hospitalization care. They said it was going to help us, and they didn't help nothing. They didn't help none of that. My wife said they sent her some bills, and I'm like, why did they send me the bill? I'm the one with the insurance. um, they didn't, and they refused to talk to me. They were like, oh, well, your wife was deemed competent, so if you want to talk, and I was like, I don't want to talk to you about her medical situation. I'm going to talk to you because I got some complaints. So basically, they refused to process my complaint. You know, I got complaints about them deeming her competent, and they did not let nobody challenge it, because you're supposed to be able to challenge it and have a real psychiatrist come in there, and they refused that. They ignored me. They ignored both of us, and they continue to ignore us. And all they keep telling me is, well, basically, we don't have to talk to you. You know, I'm like, that, you know, the HIPAA rules, which is about privacy. Your hospital information, your patient information, you know, is private, even if you're somebody's wife or husband, right? But I didn't. My complaint has nothing to do with HIPAA. It has to do with abuse and treatment. You know, what the hospital did, how they treated us, and treated her. You know, and they're acting like that is under HIPAA, which it is not. Okay, but outside of that, I mean, really, what I'm complaining about is the fact that they just dumped her, you know, like a piece of garbage. You know, they shipped her like an Omaha steak. My wife was hollering, begging for me when they were sitting up there prepping her and making her go. They said they would honor her if she just changed her mind, but they did not. I was on the phone with her, and she said, I don't want to go to California. I want to be with my husband. And they were like, well, would you like me to wash your face? You know, they just completely ignored her. And they know that she was not competent to make that decision because of the way they treated her. They ignored everything she said and just threw her in the transport van, drove her. You know, they stopped me from being able to communicate with her. They wouldn't let me be with her 1 second after the visiting hours, even though they're shipping my wife 3,000 miles away from me. They're shipping her 3,000 miles away from me. They wouldn't even let me come and say goodbye or be with her until they left, because they didn't want me to talk her into saying no. And they knew she was not competent enough, she did not understand what was going on. But they're going to sit up there and pretend that she did know. Okay? So I'm trying not to go on too long with that part because it's another part of this. But they shipped her to her sisters, threw her in a bed, and abandoned her. Gave her some little pills and a little prescription, and just left. You know, they don't care if she dies. Grady Hospital. They could care less. My wife can die because she doesn't have anybody to check her vitals or anything. You know, and she's in California, so our coverage is no good there. So we would have to reboot our coverage, and so she's out there trying to get Medicaid. That's a process. While she's waiting for Medicaid, you know, something can happen, and then she'd end up in. I know the hospitals have to take her if something happens, but I don't want nothing to happen. I don't want nothing to happen to my wife, man. So, you know, we've been together for like almost 40 years. Yeah, I know I don't look like it. But we've been together for like, this is our 38th year, you know? So, anything can happen to her. They don't care. Now, there's another part to this. You know, as far as, you know, because Grady Hospital was looking for money. That's what the problem was, right? Like, we don't have the money. Even though I was working, it doesn't matter that I'm working. You know, that's not good enough. My insurance was Oscar Insurance, which at the time when I got it, like I said, we didn't know anybody was sick. So that insurance was fine. You know, nobody knew she was going to be in a situation where she needs this kind of care, you know, like in-home care and all that. And it's going to find out they don't cover not a dime of it. That was part of the problem while we was looking at Medicaid. She don't qualify for SSDI because she's basically been an independent contractor type worker. She's a photographer. So she disability said that she don't qualify, even though she's disabled and I got no leg. So the other part to this is because you don't never know what's gonna happen to somebody when you screw them over. Okay. So number one I'm going to talk about is drive time. I know this video is kind of long. Drive time. Last year, I'm buying a car from Drive Time. I saved some money to buy a car, and I was going to keep some money, right? I don't want to spend all my saved money, so I gave them, because I didn't want to be paying forever, so I gave them $12,000 for this car. Come to find out, car had pre-existing engine issues that were hidden. I couldn't find it on any of the like Carfax or anything, right? But after they didn't really show anything symptoms until I started driving on the freeway, which I wasn't doing that often. I was driving on the streets mostly. So I find out that this thing had 4 warped heads and a whole bunch of other issues, bad radiator, this cooling part, I keep forgetting the name of it, but it was a long time ago. So a whole bunch of stuff. I had to replace the whole entire engine only about 30 days after I purchased it for $5,000. Okay, that's $5,000 that I could have had right now for my wife. Okay. Drive Time, thank you. And then when I contacted Drive Time, they said I should have bought the warranty. And I was like, why do I need a warranty for a pre-existing issue? This problem was before I purchased the car, so I shouldn't need a warranty. This is, you should stand by your product. And they were like, too bad, too sad. Who cares? They knew that there was a problem with the car because when I test drove it, when I test drove one car, I drove by myself. They thought that car was okay. When I test drove this car, they had an agent sitting in the back seat because she wanted to make sure I didn't take it to the place where take the car like a freeway or something and find out there is something wrong with it. So they knew, and even if they didn't know, they knew it was pre-existing after I talked to them, and they did not care. They could care less, and they wasted my money, and it's money that I could have been using for my wife right now, who's in serious condition, thanks to them and Grady and to somebody else. This guy on Facebook, who before I dealt with Drive Time, I purchased a car from him, and that was a big mistake. His name was Desmond Andrews, I think, and he wore a Delta badge the whole time. It's like I think he was on break from work. He worked for Delta. This Desmond Andrews brother, who we sat down and even talked about, he asked me, why I need the car. I told him my whole story. I had some bad breaks with bad bosses. I think Comcast, Comcast has screwed me really bad. And I had a video about that. They screwed me over, and I'm coming back, trying to come back from that. I'm telling him my story, man. He's sitting up there acting like he's all compassionate about it. He didn't care. These are the kind of people that we don't need. You know what I'm talking about? As a black race, we don't need black people like that. Black people that go around ripping off other black people. And it's not like I told him I can't bounce back. I told him, I said, I can't bounce back from being ripped off, man. Don't, if you doing some sketchy shit, do it to somebody else. You know, you find somebody else to do it too, but no, he had to do it. And so I find out, you know, the car kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and then I had to get rid of it, and it was wasted $5,000. It was like a $5,000 prophecy going on. You know, they wasted $5,000. I had to sell it, and it was getting hot. And then I noticed when I pulled the cover off the engine and looked down, you know, and I said, "Oh, stop leak! This motherfucker did this." You know, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing to me, and you know, why would you do that to some, you know, why would you do that to another brother? You know, that's just, you know, that's the lowest of the low. That's the worst of the worst. You know, anyway, that's another $5,000 that I could have been using for my wife right now. And what I'm saying is when you go ripping people off, and let me tell you another thing real quick. I worked for AT&T for about 5 months. I worked for AT&T doing what do you call wire pros, an installation person. And I had this boss. He kept calling himself a Christian. I was like, he ain't no damn Christian. As soon as I got out of training, I did very well in the training, and also I was I had top pay going in because I worked for Comcast before, right? I came out and I was, you know, you still got to learn stuff. So my focus was on knowing what the hell I'm doing, right? Because there was a lot of processes that I didn't work. Even with Comcast, we didn't do all that stuff that AT&T did, you know, working with copper and all that mess. So I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what I was doing. So that's what my focus was. And I kept telling him that. And I was still in training, okay? And he kept treating me like I was out of training. He was like, "You need to speed up. You need to do, you know, speed up." And, like, you know, and I'm like, "Okay, you want me to speed up? But you don't want?" I said, "Okay." You know, I'm like, "You want me to speed?" But I explained to him. You know, he asked me what's going on. I said, "I'm trying. I want to know what I'm doing. Okay, that's what's going on. And once I know what I'm doing, you don't have to worry about how fast I'll be. Okay, because that will make me fast. Everybody learns a different way. So this guy, it wasn't because of our speed that he was just on my ass. He just didn't want me on the team. He was told to get rid of some people, and I heard it. I overheard it on the phone, and he decided I was one of them. So he just did all kind of shit, misaligned, you know, I want to say misaligned, maligned my reputation and everything, because he wanted to make it look like I was this terrible worker, which I wasn't. He just wanted to make it look like that to his higher ups. So, you know, he kept writing me up for stuff, but most of the stuff he wrote me up for turned out he was wrong. You know, it was not valid. It was invalid. What he was, you know, but he would just turn around and do it again. But he didn't care about that. All he cared about he wanted his paperwork to go up there, and even whether I was a bad worker or not, all that paperwork about me going up there, you know, just sullied my name. And then he turned around and framed me for some bullshit, you know, and ended up getting terminated behind something that I shouldn't have got terminated for. Okay, just because he just wanted to get me off the team. He just wanted that. Okay, so I am coming back from that. That's why I was doing Uber Eats and all that. And I was doing Uber Eats. I was actually doing pretty good with Uber Eats, but like I said, when my wife got sick, I had to go to Walmart, and I couldn't do that anymore, and I had to make a lot less money. Okay, so now we're in a situation. You know, I'm scrambling now. I'm back to Uber Eats and stuff, and I'm trying to make my money so I can take care of my wife. I'll probably have to take up stakes and leave Atlanta. You know, because she don't want to come back here after all this dirt happened. You know, she don't. So I have to try to, you know, I am really in a situation now. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to get people to help me or nothing. I'm just saying what my point is, you know, you screwing people over. You got to know that there's there's consequences, you know. You hurt me. God help you. Is all I gotta say. You hurt me. God help you. You know, it, it's better than what does it say in the Bible? It's better than have a stone wrapped around your neck and thrown in the sea than to offend one of his little ones. I'm one of his little ones. I might be one of the littlest little ones, but I am one of God's people. Okay? And sometimes we have to take it on the chin so that God can teach you something. And I pray for y'all. I pray for you people who are out there doing others harm just because you feel like it, hurting people just because just because you want, or you think it's funny, or whatever the crazy reason that you have in your head. You guys have really hurt me. You hurt me. And I'm not talking about hurt my feelings. You hurt me. You hurt my wife. My wife didn't do nothing to you. People have families. We have responsibilities. You people out there, you play games with people's lives. It's not right. That's just, it's not right. It's immoral. It's incompassionate. It's inhuman. That's why the word inhumane. It's just wrong. So I'm just letting you know what you guys put me through. With you and this guy from Comcast who wanted to get rid of me because I complained about him harassing me. And the whole Comcast, unlike AT&T, all of Comcast got behind him. They knew that he put lies in my record to get rid of me, and they act like whatever. He's management, so we're just going to back him, even though he did you wrong. They admitted they was wrong in the end. He gave me a small settlement, but the fact of the matter is, you already you allowed him to screw me over, and he still has a job. I don't. Comcast told me I couldn't come back. They got mad at me because I protested being treated badly. They was so mad at me that they was like, "You can't work with us." They put a part of the settlement. They had a ban. They put a ban on me from working there because I had the nerve to say something about somebody mistreating me. So I'm just saying, you never know what it's gonna do to somebody down the line, and everything you do come back to you. So God help you. God help you, people. Going around hurting other people, going around hurting other people like that for no good reason. People that don't deserve to be hurt. If I did something to you, which I didn't, but it's so wrong. So I just wanted to tell anybody that sees this, it might only be one person, about what happened with me. Grady Hospital, this Desmond Andrews person, drive time, AT&T, Comcast, all the trauma that they have converged upon me, and have the situation that they put me in, which if they didn't do that, I wouldn't be here. If I was still at Comcast, my wife we would be at this house that we started with, that we lost after Comcast did what they did to me. My wife would probably have been taking care of herself better. It kind of got depressing, after we lost our house, and me scrambling to find jobs, try and work to replace what we lost. I got sick before all this happened. I got sick and I couldn't work for 3 years. So all the savings that we had at that point was gone. And then here come Comcast screwing me. after that. And I was like, I'm just trying to come back to a stable point. Why are you guys playing games with people? Just let us work. Let us work, do our jobs, and go home. Stop playing with us. And then if people are playing with you, what is HR doing? Why are you backing people who are just terrorizing workers? What is wrong with you? So anyway, I'm going on too long. This has been 25 minutes. I'm going to stop here. And thank you guys for listening to my story. I've been trying to tell people this. I told the Atlanta Journal. I think I wrote them. Atlanta Journal, Fox News, ABC. I've told some lawyers. I've told some politicians, about this. And I've complained to the medical board, and I'm going to keep on. I yelped on some of this stuff. Not about my wife being sick. You can't yelp that. But on some of the treatment for some of these companies, and I'm going to keep on knocking because this is an injustice that, and it needs to be corrected. It needs to be made right. I need to be made whole. This is wrong. My wife, because you guys sucked up my savings, my wife could have used that for her like medicine and stuff, for her supplies and all that. They're over there struggling. Her sister is not rich. They're over there struggling to get her supplies, and I'm struggling to get her the money because this is so sudden that I gotta build up money for that now. And I gotta live. I'm barely living. I live on water and chicken, man. I'm the small. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going out here living lavish. I'm making the money. I'm trying to, and then I got some debt too. This is ridiculous. But anyway, let me stop. I could go on forever, and I have. So I'm just going to say thank you and peace. I don't even know what the name is, but all right. You take care now. I hope everything goes better for whoever's out there watching this than what I'm going through. Thank you.